Creativity and Innovation Day. Dr. Friedman is the White Family Clinical Professor at Miami University in Ohio. He's been using creativity in his role as an educator and in his former life as an Emmy Award-winning TV producer and director. Dr. Friedman is a dream builder, illuminator, coach, wordsmith, like our own Bob Merlin, teacher, storyteller, author, inventor, and idea donor. He will be talking with us about this international event in which the United Nations has chosen as their theme this year, collaboration. We were invited to participate through the International Academy of Collaborative Professionals, our state organization, the Florida Academy of Collaborative Professionals, and our local practice group, Choose Collaborative. Dr. Friedman, thank you so much for joining us, and we want to hear your ideas about creativity in resolution of conflict and about the event that you steward for all of us. So welcome, Dr. Friedman.
Wow. Oh, wow. That's so nice of you. It's interesting and a little odd to see me at the other end of the room. It's a little disconcerting. It feels very interesting. Also, I don't know that I'm able to hear you all, but I hope I can. And whoever's running this from this side, is it possible for me to be able to share my screen in case something comes up? Because I do want to open the floor to some conversation, because what would a conversation about collaboration be about, would be like without any collaboration. So
So Dr. Friedman, can you hear me when I speak into this microphone?
I just heard that.
Okay, great. So our plan is, because we're kind of winging this, our plan is that we do have a microphone and we can pass it around the room if somebody has a question for you, because my understanding is you would like this to be interactive.
I would love this to be interactive. So, to the best of my knowledge, you all have significant specialization in collaboration during divorce. Yes? Can I get some?
Yes,
cool.
yes. We're going to talk about that at the end of the program. We'll segue into that, but
No. I'm just trying to set this up to let you know that I am an expert in that, but not from the legal side, from the divorce side. I've been practicing, and I need you all to know that my ex-wife, said that she believes that every woman should have the opportunity to be divorced from me. So I think that that is a really nice, so that tells you where I am in collaborative divorce. I think just to make it right, so one of my future divorces will be even better. My first divorce was not, I mean, it was the first one, so I didn't do it very well. But the second one, I got to tell you, we practiced unanticipatingly. We practiced what you all preach, and we made all the decisions. We made it together, and went to the lawyers and said, okay, here's what we want. My attorney said to me, you could do so much better than this. And I said, that's not the deal. That's not the plan here. That's not the program here. It was interesting. One of the things from my divorce that is most powerful is that when we went to the courthouse in order to make it all final, we were still talking about, are we sure we can't make this work? And we agreed that this wasn't going to work. But when we went into the courtroom for the actual divorce, we asked the judge if we could sit together. Well, he said, absolutely not. No, 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 no. There needs to be at different tables. We are very happily divorced. We have been for close to 20 years. I now have a husband-in-law, and we actually have a good relationship as well. And my ex-wife and I, 24 hours ago, took the next step. And there is my grandbaby. That is, I didn't know how much collaboration there is there, but what I do know is that for those of you who don't have grandchildren, what I can tell you is grandchildren are God's gift for not murdering your children when they were 15. So I highly recommend that you all stay the course and have that opportunity. As she told you, I am not an expert in the law. I'm not an expert even in collaboration, but I sometimes like to refer myself as an expert in creativity for one very good reason, because the one question they ask is, can you really teach creativity? And what I like to say is, at least I have convinced the university that it can be taught. And the reason that I teach creativity is that I needed health insurance. So I have convinced the university that that's what I can do. The really, really important place to start with this conversation is with a guy who actually was down in Florida when he did this. And his name is George Land. And George Land has the most incredible eyebrows on the planet. George Land he worked at NASA, and this was in the 1950s. And George Land had to hire the scientists who were going to send people to the moon, land on the moon, and come back. Now, this had never been done before. So if you were to ask my students of how you hire the people to do that, they would say, well, you look at the GPA, right? The smartest scientists are the ones you get to do this. George Land didn't think so. George Land said, we're not going to hire the smartest. We're going to hire the most adaptable. We're going to hire the ones who have creative mindsets. And so what George Land did was he gave all the PhDs who are applying for the job, he gave them a test of creativity. But what was really remarkable was George Land gave this test of creativity to a whole bunch of, and by a whole bunch of, I mean 1,600 5-year-olds. He gave the same test to 1,600 5-year-olds as he gave to the PhD scientists, but the 5-year-olds scored at 98% genius level. Well, this was remarkable. And he didn't really understand it, but what he decided to do was he decided to give the same 1,600 5-year-olds the exact same test 5 years later. Same 1,600, 5 years later, the same test. And this time, they scored at a 30% genius level. That's how much creativity they had lost. So he did it again 5 years later. And at 15, they scored at a 12% genius level. Now, unfortunately, what we have found out, and what happened was even true back then in the late 1950s, middle 1960s, is that adults to this day score at a 2% genius level. What George Land showed, what he proved, is that creativity is not inherited. It is not learned. Creativity is unlearned. We are creative. We have it, and it is taught out of us, which is what you all are fighting against as you do the work that you do in collaboration. Collaboration is a creative concept. Anything that differs from the norm, anything that differs from the usual, well, that's creative. And what George Land found is that we start this, which means if 5-year-olds were getting divorced, you guys would have an easy job. But we wait until we teach all that creativity out of them. So I teach at the university. I get them just when their creativity is down below 12%. We even had to create a new course, which the students think is ESP 103. We refer to it as we're going to beat the high school out of you. Students come out of high school with a non-creative mindset. They have been told to find the right answer. They've been, they come into school, interestingly, with a really questioning mind. You know, I just told you all how that creativity goes throughout your life, but 2 other trajectories are the same as this one. The number of questions we ask from the age of 3 to the age of 5, children will ask 40,000 questions in those 3 years. Most of them beginning with the word why. Look at how their questions die as we turn them into periods. We tell them it's not question time. It's not question time. Give me the answer. Put your hand down. Somebody is walking up to this microphone or this. We okay? I'm going to show you one more thing. The number of times we laugh. The number of times we laugh. We laugh 113 times a day at the age of 5. When we get it and older, you know, it's 11 times a day, and you guys have already used up several of those. Oh, there's another one. You guys are almost done for the day. This gentleman, you have a question, sir?
Do I have a question?
No, it's okay. It's okay. I'm messing with you. I'm just messing with you. So questioning, being able to ask questions is a critical part of the collaborative process. But we have a tendency not to ask questions because if we ask questions, we may get a differing viewpoint than what we have in mind, our position, our purpose. We generally, lack of collaboration means that we want to shove our ideas down your throat. And question asking is collaborative. And therefore, we have a whole set of mindsets that actually go to the whole concept of creativity and collaboration. These are the things that go into collaboration. These are the mindsets of creativity that go into collaboration. The first one being curiosity. If you are curious, if you wonder, what other possibilities might there be? What's on your mind? What other ways might we look at this? But we teach that out of people. We teach that out of people from the very beginning. Did I happen to mention to you that I have a new grandchild? Children are creative. But when you hold a baby for the first time and you look at him and he sees your necklace dangling, he'll reach for it. And what's the first word you say to him? No. Throughout their growth, the words that we say to them are no, stop, don't. No, that's not yours. Get down, get off of that. We don't do that. Use your inside voice. Don't stop running. Don't run. Be careful. Put that down. That's not yours. No, because it will spoil your dinner. This is why we don't have nice things. And then we go to school and the teacher says, slow down, don't do that, don't play with that. And the friends say, nobody wears that. Nobody thinks that's cool. Nobody thinks that song is, you're not going to go out with him, right? You're not going to go out wearing that. All of these things go into killing our confidence and our curiosity. These are the things that teach creativity out of us. Curiosity, we're told to stop and don't. Next mindset is ambiguity. We want an answer. We want an answer. One of the greatest things about my second divorce, my collaborative divorce, was that we didn't rush it. When we decided that we were divorcing, we just split the bedrooms. We stayed. I said, I'm going to stay here and raise the boys. You're welcome to stay. And she stayed for a while, and then she moved out for a while. And then when she was going to get married, she moved back in with me in order to save some money for her new marriage. And that's fine. But the ambiguity of let's talk about it. Let's not rush it. Let's think about it rather than I need an answer. I need to get this done. That's another mindset of creativity. Third mindset, divergence. When you go into divorce, for the most part, I know what I want, you know what you want, we're going to beat each other up over it. But let's come up with multiple ideas. Let's come up with multiple opportunities. Divergent has to do with the number of ideas you think of. And we have a tendency to be as comfortable with the first right idea as we do at the last possible minute. How many ideas can we come up with? Risk. We don't like to risk. We don't like to make mistakes. But sometimes we have to risk sharing a little bit more, trying it a little bit different. That's a mindset of creativity, as is a bias towards action, a bias towards doing something and then iterating. Let's put out one iteration, then let's change it, let's alter it, let's see what we can come up with. The empathy that is needed for creativity, the caring about the other side, the caring about who we're working with, and that all goes into collaboration. This is what we use to develop the creative confidence in students who had the creativity taught out of them. So I'm going to wrap up here in just a minute so that I can basically talk to you all, but I'm going to finish with one story because I think it's important. And because, did I mention to you that I have a new grandbaby? Because I'm thinking about him in this story. And maybe some of you have kids and you'll be able to look at them differently, or maybe some of you will have kids and you will look at them differently. But I decided once that I would have a 6-year-old teach my class. I teach creativity, which I sometimes call kindergarten for college students. So I thought, if 6-year-olds, if 5-year-olds are the most creative, why don't I have a 6-year-old teach my class? So this is, I'm sorry, it's my grandbaby. I had this girl and her name is Sydney. I had her teach my class. That's Sydney. Her parents call her Mayhem. And so when Mayhem was 4 years old, she was sitting on the couch with her parents and they were watching the Oscars. They were watching the preview. They were watching the red carpet. Then Sydney got off the couch and she went into the other room, which isn't unusual, but her parents continued to watch. And about a half hour later, Sydney came back into the room. Now, she had been in the bathroom this whole time, and she had taken off all of her clothing, and she had wrapped herself in several rolls of toilet paper. And she came into the room and she said to her parents, "Do you like my evening gown? I'm ready for the red carpet." Now, how many of you would have said, "You clean up that mess, and that's not what the toilet paper's for"? Well, her parents said, "If you're ready for the red carpet, then we better call the paparazzi." And they both got their cameras out and they started snapping pictures while she swirled around in her evening gown. And so she came to my class and she taught a class in how to make clothing out of scraps. And that is my class after their fashion show of things that we had found around. But the real end of this story is that Mayhem actually now has her own clothing line for J. Crew. You can look it up, Fashions by Mayhem. I think she's probably 11 or 12 by now. But just that concept of holding off on the no, holding off on the "we can't do that," really is the foundation of collaboration in pretty much everything we do. Opening up our minds to the empathy, opening up our minds to curiosity, opening up our minds to the divergent mindsets of hearing what other people have to say and other ideas and other possibility is really, for the most part, the foundations of what you all practice. I thank you all for being a part. Here's my collaborative partner. I thank you all for, yeah, okay, buddy. There you go, back up there in your place. I thank you all for having me here, for talking about this and joining World Creativity. World Creativity is going to be celebrated in 111 countries right now. We're in more than 86% of the world, and we really appreciate you joining us. And so if we can open the mics and I'll be able to chat with you all a little bit. I'm ready for your questions.
I have a question.
This is like class. It's sometimes like talking to an oil painting.
Hi,
I think-
Professor. I'm curious as to how this whole World Collaboration Week, this whole project came about.
How did World Creativity and Innovation Week come apart? The great question, and thank you for that one. There was a woman whose name is Marcy Steele, and Marcy had this idea after she graduated with her master's in creativity. It is a master's of creativity, and interestingly enough, the center of the creative world is Buffalo, New York. Who knew? Who knew? My father was from Buffalo, New York, and he once told me that committing suicide in Buffalo, New York is redundant. So Buffalo, New York is at State University in New York. Buffalo has a great creativity program, and it really is outstanding. And Marcy went to that program, and she was thinking of a project that she could do in order to bring the world together with creative ways to save the planet. And so she created this in her home in Canada in 2001. And she put the word out to her Buffalo friends, and it spread as a grassroots effort. And so people all over the world began to celebrate it. And she got it to a point that in 2017, she attracted the eye of an ambassador at the United Nations, Rhonda King, who loved the idea and took it to the full assembly. And it was voted as a forever United Nations International Day of Observation. And it is celebrated all over the world because of that. And the whole concept is, how can we come together using creativity in order to make our worlds better, in order to make the world better? World Creativity Innovation Week is April 15th through April 21st, April 15th, beginning on Leonardo da Vinci's birthday, April the 21st being World Creativity and Innovation Day, which is the day before Earth Day, a gift to saving the planet. So Marcy was going to walk away from it. She was just going to walk away and say, okay, I've done my thing. And I found out about it and I called her up and I said, I would like to continue your legacy. My students at Miami University in Oxford, Ohio, would be interested in carrying it on. And so we talked and we got together and we facilitated the transfer of World Creativity and Innovation Week from beautiful Canada to the cornfields of Ohio. My students created this website. They coded the website. They created the new graphic design. They produced the video. And now they have grown to the celebrations. It's 111 after today. We just got 2 more countries. And they work with the people in all of these countries in order to bring celebrations there. And they do it on four different sites, platforms, social media on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram. And so that's the beginning in the history that got us. Each year we choose a theme. Last year's theme was education. This year's theme was collaboration. And I know that you guys have been around for a while just waiting for somebody to theme it correctly. To include you in an international celebration. We're glad that we could do this. And thanks to Holly Haggerty, who connected us. We really appreciate that. Next question.
Hi. Thank
Hi.
you so much for sharing your enthusiasm and your humanity and creativity with us. We work in a field that is often very, very difficult with people who are going through very, very stressful, difficult times. And the infusion of creativity and humanity and empathy is so important. And I'm a divorce lawyer, so speaking for myself, I could say that this is just so uplifting for me, and I feel so energized to go back into my next case and be more creative and more open-minded, because we're not trained in that way, and we're all human beings, so we all need to really understand where people are coming from and really be more open and come up with creative solutions. And I guess, you know, our challenge in this community is that we need to educate our community, because, you know, people think of divorce as win-lose, and that's not what it is. So do you have any suggestions for us in terms of bringing more creativity into our community, helping people understand that it's really the way to go? Also from your experience as someone who has been through a collaborative divorce.
I can say several things. First, are you from the Tampa area? Are you all from Tampa area?
No, we're Boca Raton. Palm
You're
Beach
down
County.
Boca, down near Palm Beach.
Yes, and Broward.
And Broward, yeah. I used to work at Channel 5, WPTV, down there in West Palm Beach. We used to call that the Pearl of the Palms. So I've spent some time down in your area. One of the things, and I have done creativity workshops for all kinds of industries. I got to tell you, I've never done one for attorneys. That might be fun. I would love to try that out with y'all. The one thing that I would say, and this is the hardest thing for me to get across to pretty much anyone, is the concept of catching as opposed to pitching. Okay? We believe that when we want to do something or get something done, our first step is to tell everybody what we want. Right? It goes along with that quote that if all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail, because we have a tendency to, as you know, express our positions as opposed to understanding the common interest. So pitching is sharing the idea. And if you can talk to the different sides, the different people, and begin with questions. What is it that's important to you? Because that's part of the collaborative process. It's actually part of the creative process. The hardest thing that I have to do in teaching creativity to my students is teach empathy. We have the least empathic students I have ever had. I've been teaching for a long time. I've been coloring my hair gray for a very long time. For those of us, and I think I can say that some of you remember when there weren't cell phones. My students don't remember when there weren't cell phones, right? So I say to them, how many of you have broken up with somebody or been broken up with by text? They all raise their hands. They're embarrassed, but yeah. How many of you found out that somebody died by text? Somebody important to you? It comes by text, it comes by email. They are not used to looking a person in the eye and actually feeling. That's got to be tremendously difficult for the people in this room. You're dealing with emotion. You're dealing with humanity. You're dealing with people at some of their rawest. And so I would think that one of the things that's most important for you to do is that empathic questioning. And the best empathic question that I would suggest for you is, if you could wave a magic wand, tell me what the end of this looks like. Don't explain it to me. Don't explain it to me. Tell me about the day after your divorce is final. Tell me about that entire day. Tell me what it feels like. Tell me what you'll do. Tell me, and they don't know it, but in giving you that answer, they will reveal things that they don't even know they're revealing. They will give you the answers without realizing. Because when we say, tell me a story, when I say, tell me a story about that day, they speak from the heart. When you say, what do you want? Well, they speak from the head. So that's, I guess, where I would start. How's that? Does that help at all? I can't see you. You're just out of frame.
Perfect. Thank you.
I'll take perfect.
So,
Yeah, if I had a nickel for every woman who said that my answers were perfect, I'd now have a nickel. Okay.
So, Dr. Friedman, I think it's pretty obvious that our group doesn't want to let you go, that we're really in learning from you and enjoying your humor. And I don't know if you realize this, but you've hit a number of the high notes of what we do. We talk about creativity in our work, that we're not bound just by the law. We use the law. We have to consider the law. but we have an opportunity to be creative and collaborative. We talk about empathy, we talk about option building. Those are some of the tenets of collaboration. So I personally would like to invite you to share with us on another day when we can have more of you and longer time with you, because you have so much to teach us in terms of another way of looking at the work we do. And I know you made it clear to me before tonight that you're not a lawyer, but you, and nor am I, but I think we other disciplines have things to teach, and we work as colleagues and teams. So I'm personally inviting you. We'll talk about it at another time, because I think we all would like to spend more time with you. So thank you so much
Absolutely.
for the work you do.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I hope that we can connect in the future. I hope in the future you will call me Jim. Dr. Friedman, I only made my mother call me that. Doctor and me are like an elevator and an outhouse. They just aren't two things that really feel like they go together well. But it's been a real pleasure seeing you guys. And I wish you best of luck and thank you for celebrating with World Creativity. Enjoy your evening and thank you.
Jim.